office in Harrisburg. This incident down lines for telephones and email accounts from agencies, as well as putting his website offline yesterday. According to Sunday, staff members are investigating the cause of the network outage yesterday and trying to restore his agency's communication systems. Sunday also confirmed in a statement that around the clock is when information technology employees are trying to fix this problem for him and those affected by this incident. And Governor Josh Shapiro visited SEPTA headquarters on Sunday in Philadelphia to talk about how services for public transit can be a lifeline for the economy of many Pennsylvanians, as well as to talk about how public transit can be a lifeline for them.
Funding SEPTA and mass transit is absolutely critical. We, of course, know that SEPTA supports 26,600 jobs in our communities. They generate over $4 billion for Pennsylvania's economy, and it touches everything from the skyscrapers here in our beautiful center city to the outreaches of our neighborhoods in Philadelphia and in our suburbs. We've even heard from our great sports teams, the world champion Eagles and the first place Philadelphia Phillies, because they understand that we need to get people to and from the ballpark to see the winning ways of these teams. We've got 800,000 riders who rely on SEPTA each and every day, including 55,000 Philadelphia school students who are getting ready to go back to school on August the 25th.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Sunny, hot, and humid today. We'll see highs near 91. Partly cloudy tonight with a chance of showers and thunderstorms. We'll drop down to a low around 70. Cloudy tomorrow with showers and thunderstorms likely throughout the day and evening. We'll reach highs near 84 and lows in the mid-60s. And partly sunny on Thursday with a slight chance of rain and thunderstorms through mid-afternoon. We'll see highs near 85 and lows around 63. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Tuesday, August 12th of 2025 at 10 minutes after 10, we've got a temperature of 82 degrees currently in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM, AM 1230 WBVP, 95.7 FM, and 1460 AM WMBA. Also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Welcome to Live Mike with Mike Romigh. This is the show that talks about what's happening in Beaver County. Noah Haswell will have news at the top and bottom of each hour. Now, here is the host of the show, Mike Romigh.
Well, I'm just the host of the show. The star of the show this morning is Brandon Antinopoulos from Forward RX in New Brighton. And once a month he comes in and tells us all the latest in the pharmaceutical industry, what the latest is in terms of going to an independent pharmacist versus going to one of the big box chain pharmacists. Brandon, welcome to the show once again.
Yeah, good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. Wearing your purple this morning.
Yeah, that's it.
Very festive, but the long sleeves, by about noon, you're going to have to change that out.
Oh, I know. Well, when I go back to work, I'll have another white coat on top of this, so I guess you just kind of get used to it.
Just hope the air conditioning in the building is working all right for you.
Yeah, exactly.
In New Brighton. Forward RX. So there's been a lot of talk about pharmaceuticals this week with Mark Cuban's name coming into the arena. That brought some, at least interest to where perhaps there wasn't. Maybe now more people are looking at independent pharmacies and the lower costs that you can get.
Yeah, sure. So if anyone saw, there was a large announcement that's been getting a lot of press and a lot of recognition. So Giant Eagle Pharmacy, our local grocery store chain in the area, has teamed up with Mark Cuban, for those that don't know. So Mark Cuban has also been doing a cost plus model. So for just to recap what cost plus is. So cost plus is really a pricing methodology for pharmacies. It's just taking whatever it costs us to get the medication and doing a simple and transparent markup. Now, everyone's version of what that plus is may be a little different, but again, it's just this concept of complete transparency, cutting out the middleman, and really, doing what's best for the patient and not having to price gouge people. So, Cuban's had his online version that he's been doing this. We've been doing it for a little over a year now, since we opened back in May of last year. And so more and more pharmacies are starting to do this. So we're coming into pharmacy's coming into its cost plus era.
Yeah.
And so, even though we've been doing it for a little over a year, and some other independents have been doing it, it really doesn't make a big splash until you have some large names or some large chains doing it. So anytime the concept of cost plus pharmacy kind of hits the news or hits the headlines, I think that's generally positive. The more people know about it, one, that's less that I have to do explaining the concept. But I think it's just going to show that as more and more pharmacies kind of, whether they're doing it themselves or, using a third party, it's just the growth of what cost plus is starting to make its way into the local community pharmacy.
So basically, they're just playing catch up with something that you've already been doing.
Yeah. Now, the question I ask is why, why doesn't Giant Eagle just lower their own prices? Why do they need to team up with a third party or another middleman in this case to tell them what prices to charge? So they've been price gouging you all along, and has decided not to until they get a big headline like teaming up with Cuban. But nonetheless. But yeah, I think more and more pharmacies are trying to compete. They realize that the secrecy and the hidden prices and trying to not know what the cost is, and the whole entire pharmacy and insurance industry trying to keep that hidden from people and the people that pay for healthcare. That's transparency is the future, and more places are becoming more transparent.
Yeah, so it's all very good as far as you're concerned as an independent and someone who's been independent since you started a year ago, as you say, and it's been very successful for you. And I would venture to say probably your prices are still going to be better than those other ones, right?
Yeah, they are. So the way Mark Cuban's, that Team Cuban card, the markup works is that they take the cost of the medication, a 15% markup, and then there's a pharmacy benefit manager that gets their $1 cut. Giant Eagle gets their $12 cut. And ultimately, when you add that all together, that's what comes down to the price that the patient would pay. Our pricing is we take our cost of the medication and a 5% markup plus $10 to cover our labor and overhead, and that's how you get to our price. So yeah, in most cases, as far as the price, we're still very competitive. We're still less. And so, again, anytime, even when you're being transparent, anytime you add additional players or middlemen into the transaction, like everyone needs their cut. And so, the costs are going to add up. So for us, we just decided, we're not playing middlemen insurance games or these pharmacy industry pricing games. We just take whatever it costs us plus the simple markup, and that's the price. So for us, a lot of times we're still able to come out better priced at the end of the day than what people would pay using another pharmacy that's using one of those discount cards.
Take, for example, a drug that people have to have for heart failure, Entresto.
Yes, yeah.
Talk about that, what the brand name is, the price for the brand name versus what you can now get for people to afford.
Yeah, sure. So this is one that I'm really excited about. So when you own a pharmacy that does, cost plus, no insurance, you get really excited about new generic launches. Even though brand name medications, those are the prices that usually make the headlines. Those are very, very expensive. We certainly pay more here in the United States than in other countries. But when it comes to generic medications, the United States actually pays less in generic drug prices. Well, I should say this. The cost to pharmacies to buy the generic medications are much less than any other part of the world. So even though our brand name actual costs of those drugs are very high, the generics are much less. And so whenever a new brand name medication becomes available as a generic, That's an exciting time for us because you have people that even if they have insurance coverage, maybe the insurance doesn't cover the brand. Maybe they'll cover the brand, but they require you to jump through a lot of hoops with your doctor and prior authorizations, or you have to try 3 or 4 other cheaper generics first before you can get to the brand. And even whenever it's covered, you still may pay a high copay. Now with when a medication becomes newly generic, it usually takes a good 4 to 6 months before the price starts to come down. But for this one, Entresto, which is a medication to treat heart failure, this medication went generic a little less than a month ago. So we're still not even at a full month. And our price on this is already down to $45 for a month's supply. And the brand name Entresto, for me, if I were to buy it and stock it on my shelf, it would cost me $800 for that same bottle to put on the shelf. So a generic Entresto, if you're someone who's taking Entresto, or if your doctor has talked to you about Entresto, if you have heart failure and maybe you haven't been able to get it, or you had trouble accessing it or being able to afford it, the generic is available now. There's many different generic manufacturers that are making this, which is also why the prices come down a lot within that first month. So we can get you, at least for right now, $45 for that month's supply. Insurance doesn't matter. No prior authorizations. Again, that's just their price. You don't need a third-party coupon to get that price. And I anticipate over the next few months that's even going to go lower.
There are a lot of tricks to the game that I hear and I learn from you when you're on every month, and that is there are some pretty high incentives for these doctors and pharmacies, hospitals even, to lob on to the brand name and not recommend the generic brand. Is that a problem? Because if the patient, one of our listeners, may want to go and say to their doctor, I want to try this generic brand of Entresto. And they say, well, it's not as good as the brand name.
Yeah. Sometimes. I think ultimately, when it comes to the brands, they're doing whatever they can to protect their sales. They invested millions to billions of dollars in research and development. This is why we have patent exclusivity, and they're the only ones who can make the medication for a period of time so that they can recoup that and get their return on their investment. And whenever a drug goes off patent where generics are going to be available, unless they have another brand name medication in the pipeline, like even Entresto for the manufacturer Novartis last year, I think they had $7.8 billion in revenue or in sales just on that one medication alone. And if they don't figure something out, all that's going to evaporate very quickly. So they may offer higher rebates to insurance companies so that your insurance company will only cover the brand and they won't cover the generic, even though now it'll actually save the government or save your employer or save you more money. They may also offer patient assistance programs, which you may be able to get the brand name medication free through them as long as you qualify. Again, which is good. And I think a lot of the healthcare entity folks out there, that help people access these medications, if they know that, hey, there's a possibility if they jump through hoops, they may be able to get the brand name cheaper than what they even could for the generic, but you're still like delaying that therapy that, someone could very well start right there that now is at an accessible price and doesn't require insurance, doesn't require hoops to jump through, and they can get it right away. So we at least try to educate patients and the prescribers about that. And for the most part, I think most prescribers have been pretty receptive. We have some good relationship with some that if they just, while they're not like automatically sending us prescriptions, but if they have patients that start to complain about cost, they'll usually refer them to us and be like, hey, if you want the like find out what's really going on and what your best option is, go talk to Brandon and the folks at Forward RX, and they'll be able to set you straight.
It is Brandon Antinopoulos from Forward RX. So these coupons that you speak of and the samples that are given out in the doctor's offices, many people listening to this may think that, well, he's just a good doctor. He's just making this available to us because we've been a patient for a long time. But they, there are salespeople. They go into those offices, into our doctor's offices.
Oh, yeah.
And they buy the staff lunch, and they talk to them about these things. And they offer, hey, if you'll prescribe this or have your patient try this, then it's worth it to us, and everybody can make out in the long run.
Yeah, and I think even the the doctor's offices, they went in, like everyone in healthcare, I think started in healthcare for the same reason, to help patients. And whenever they're equipped with those, the samples to be able to give out for free, they at least feel the sensation like, hey, I can help this patient right here in this moment. They say like, hey, you know what, I'm going to recommend that this is the best thing for you. And here, I want you to try this, see if you have any side effects, or let's see if it works. I'll give you samples of it so you don't have to worry about the price. So it's kind of like they get to help that patient right there in the moment. But a lot of times, like they just don't know what the actual cost of that is. Or that rep that goes in there may tell you like, hey, this medication is covered on Medicare and it's covered on this insurance. Well, covered and affordable are two totally different things. I actually went through this with my insurance when we were having our first child. And I had very good insurance through University of Pittsburgh when I was working through at the time. And I called my insurance company to say, hey, my wife and I are about to have a child. I want to start saving up now. Like, I want to know how much is childbirth going to cost me. And the insurance company said like, well, if you're delivering at Heritage Valley in Beaver and this is the doctor that's going to deliver, yeah, it's covered. And I said, I know it's covered, but like how much am I going to pay? Like, I need to start saving now. Like, what am I going to pay? Well, it's covered. I'm like, does covered mean 500? Does it mean 1,000? Does it mean 5,000? What does covered mean? Well, we can't tell you that. All we can tell you is it's covered. And we had our child with our insurance, our quote unquote good insurance, that the childbirth was quote unquote covered, and ended up getting a $10,000 bill for that. So even though something is covered, and again, I think that's the case whenever brand name medications, like I think the prescribers, they really just don't know themselves like how much these drugs actually cost. And so whenever they provide the free samples, or they hear that, hey, it's covered, covered and affordable are two totally different things.
And you don't have choice of where you're going to deliver or what doctor you're going to use if they're not in your network.
Correct. Yeah. So that even complicates it more. So yeah, and that's what for us, again, our model really only works with generic medications. With brand names, those are still very expensive. So we usually will work with patients if they're on brands, how they can access those either through their insurance or direct through the manufacturer. That's best. But it's just wild now that I think we've been so ingrained to believe that insurance at your in-network place gets you the best price. And for us, it's just, again, I can't beat zero copay, but sometimes zero copay means you got to wait 45 minutes with, grumpy pharmacy staff or wherever your insurance wants you to go.
There's no such thing, is there?
But at least for us, you're not going to get price gouged. Our markups are just to cover our cost, plus what the cost of the medication is, and you're going to get great service every time.
Brandon Antinopoulos is our guest. He is the owner and the pharmacist at Forward RX in New Brighton. Hey, I know we're all on some sort of medication. And if you're paying through the nose for your prescriptions, you want to give Brandon a call? Call him now. Tell him. He probably knows what kind of prescription you're on and what you need it for, and if he can get you a better price on it. Because I think that's one of the things I've learned from Brandon is that he's going to be upfront and honest about it.
Absolutely.
If he can't beat that price that you're getting right now, he'll tell you that. But it sounds like there are a lot of ways that you can get people a lower price on their prescription drugs.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. We're going to continue our conversation and invite you into it as well at 843-1888 or 774-1888. It's Brandon Antinopoulos from Forward RX in New Brighton on Beaver County Radio.
A lot has changed since 1885. That's when my great-grandfather, William Andrew Hartzell, opened the doors to our family-owned and operated funeral home. This is William F. Rick Murphy from the William Murphy Funeral Home Incorporated in Rochester. Together with my son, Brian C. Murphy, we represent a business that is now flourishing into its 5th generation. Throughout that time, we've had the pleasure of experiencing many of local memories that have made Rochester and the surrounding area so great. I'll bet many of you can easily recall the H.C. Fry Glassworks, Barnett's Bootery, or even Kaufman's Department Store with its massive double-decker parking lot.
To put things in perspective, my family was already serving others at their time of need before the automobile had even been invented and the aforementioned businesses started and ended. Our commitment to serve our community with dignity and compassion has allowed the William Murphy Funeral Home, Inc. to preserve a business legacy that spans nearly 140 years, and we're still here. To contact us, visit our website at William Murphy Funeral Home, Inc. or call 724-775-0309.
Football season is in full swing, and so are the deals on F-Series trucks at Moon Township Ford. Stop in now and save up to $4,000 in dealer discounts on America's #1 selling truck, the Ford F-150, plus additional rebates which everyone qualifies for, or rates as low as 0%. No matter where you go, the Ford F-150 is the quintessential American truck to take you to the football field or anywhere you want to go. No wonder it's the most popular vehicle sold in the U.S., and you could save up to $5,000 in dealer discounts on America's toughest player on the field, the Super Duty. It's all a part of the August Spectacular going on now at Moon Township Ford. Not everyone will qualify. Please see dealer for additional details. Moon Township Ford, University Boulevard, across from Robert Morris.
Falcone's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
It might be time to repair or replace that old garage door. Call on Robin and her team of expert installers at Electric Garage Door Sales in Monaca. Dial 724-774-3200 and your door will work like a charm. Featuring CHI quality garage doors, LiftMaster garage door openers, and over 50 years experience, Robin and her team will get it done right. Electric Garage Door Sales. Give them a call at 724-774-3200 or find them online at electricgaragedoorsales.com.
Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and beavercountyradio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning. On this Tuesday, August 12th of 2025, we will have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. Multiple explosions occurred at the U.S. Steel Clairton Coke Works in Clairton yesterday, which killed 2 people and injured at least 10 others. This incident started with a fire yesterday morning. 39-year-old Timothy Quinn was identified yesterday as the first person that was killed from those explosions. The second person that was killed in those explosions has not been identified yet as of last night. According to Allegheny Health Network, 7 patients from the U.S. Steel plant in Clairton got treated, and within a few hours, another 5 were discharged. A trial began yesterday in Beaver County for the suspect who is accused of allegedly killing 20-year-old Triana Washington in an Aliquippa alley on August 17, 2024. According to multiple witnesses put on the stand by the prosecution, Jason Banks Jr. was dating Washington. A witness testified that a party occurred with Washington and some of her friends on August 16, 2024, when Banks showed up at the apartment of Washington in Linmar Terrace in Aliquippa. Washington was found dead the next day in an alley, and the roommate of Banks will testify later this week. That roommate of Banks was the last person with Banks and Washington that was in the alley with them before Washington was killed. The roommate of Banks hearing a shot of a gun was what the prosecution told the jury. The expected time of the case is set to go into the following week. According to a Facebook post on Sunday from Beaver County 911 Alerts and News, a 911 call on Sunday reported a person in a goat costume was chasing children around Hopewell Community Park in Aliquippa that day. There is an unknown reason at this time as to why this unidentified individual that was equipped fully with a goat mask was doing this at the park located on 2500 Laird Avenue. That is all the information that we have at this time. If you see this person, call 911 or the Hopewell Township Police Department at 724-378-0557. PennDOT District 11 announced today that tonight, weather permitting, 2 ramps on I-376 Parkway West in Collier and Robinson Townships will reopen on a work schedule. This is 4 weeks ahead of the schedule that these ramps will reopen to traffic, and they are expected to be reopened by Saturday, August 16th, 2025. The times that this work will occur and the schedule for this work and additional work can be found on our website at beavercountyradio.com. According to an announcement today from DLP Capital, that company got named to the Incorporated 5,000 list of America's fastest-growing private companies for the 13th year in a row. DLP Capital is a private real estate investment firm that has its headquarters in both Pennsylvania and Florida. Cumulative growth of revenue over the last 3 years as a fast-growing company is what determined the companies that were on the 2025 Inc. 5000 list. Companies on this same list also needed to be privately held, for profit, based in the U.S., and independent. In addition, contenders must have generated no less than $100,000 in revenue in 2021 and at least $2 million in revenue in 2024 to qualify for the 2025 Inc. 5000 list. And Governor Josh Shapiro visited SEPTA headquarters on Sunday in Philadelphia to talk about how funding services for public transit is crucial for getting Pennsylvanians to their jobs and to serve the neighbors of Pennsylvanians.
I want you to know that throughout my career, I've been one of those regular riders, commuting from the Philadelphia suburbs to law firm here in Center City in my past life. I have been on the trains. I've advocated for those who ride mass transit, and it is time to make sure that it is fully funded. We know that by fully funding SEPTA, we can do something that is necessary for our neighbors. And I would argue it's also common sense. Had a conversation with our 14-year-old son just the other day. He's off doing something else with his family. I'm here fighting to make sure we get a state budget done that funds our mass transit. And our son Ruben asked me, what's holding everything up? And I said, a big piece of what's holding it up is there are some folks who don't believe in funding our buses and our trolleys and our trains and our subways. My 14-year-old looked up and just said, well, how are people supposed to get to work, Dad?
That audio and the previous newscast audio were both courtesy of Commonwealth Media Services.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Sunny, hot, and humid today. We'll see highs near 91. Partly cloudy tonight with a chance of showers and thunderstorms. We'll drop down to a low around 70. Cloudy tomorrow with showers and thunderstorms likely throughout the day and evening. We'll reach highs near 84 and lows in the mid-60s. And partly sunny on Thursday with a slight chance of rain and thunderstorms through mid-afternoon. We'll see highs near 85 and lows around 63. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Tuesday, August 12th of 2025 at 36 minutes after 10, we've got a temperature of 82 degrees currently in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM, AM 1230 WBVP, 95.7 FM, and 1460 AM WMBA. Also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
All right. Thank you very much, Noah. Our guest this morning, he comes in once a month, is Brandon Antinopoulos. He is with Forward. Let me turn down your mic over there because you get that squeak sound coming in. Thanks, Noah. Brendan Antinopoulos, you can't do anything about that squeak, can you? It just went out over the air.
I'll just say, excuse me.
There's no prescription there for that kind of thing. Let me ask you, because I've heard this before, and as a pharmacist, you've probably been confronted with this dilemma, and that is a patient who says, I can't afford these drugs anymore. In fact, I've started cutting them back on my own. I only take it maybe twice a week or 3 times a week because I don't want to run out.
Yeah.
What do people do in those situations? Do you ever get those kind of phone calls?
We certainly do, especially just because I think with our reputation and being a trusted resource for at least not being price gouged or even helping them understand where there may be areas to access the medication, there's a few things that we can do. I think it will start with is just understanding, one, the medication that they're taking. Do they really need to be on it? Is it appropriate? If it is appropriate, making sure that it's effective and doing what it's supposed to be doing. We run into this conversation more as patients get older. As we get older, there are many side effects, and I don't think we do a really good job in discussing with patients as we get older some of the medications that have studied to work or be beneficial when you were, 60, 65, 70. If you're 80 or 85, your chances of suffering side effects from these medications increases, especially as there's other drug interactions. And, maybe we really need to assess, is the benefit of this drug still outweigh the risk, or maybe it doesn't. And we can actually, help save you money by maybe the best thing for you be not taking that medication anymore. And then also just to assess, again, if cost is an issue and they're trying to spread it out, is that still going to be an effective thing for them? Or are there other lower cost alternatives that would be beneficial? Is there some sort of patient assistance program direct from a manufacturer or thing like that? Another thing that we can do, even though we're not an insurance, even though we don't participate in insurance companies, certainly there are times where, if patients have Medicare or Medicaid, where coverage under that system would be the most beneficial for them financially, to be able to refer them to local health department or the state to be able to enroll in those programs if that is something that they're struggling with doing. Pennsylvania is also fortunate that we have the PACE program, the state medication assistance program to benefit seniors that may be, even if something is covered or not covered by their Medicare plan, their out-of-pocket costs would still be high. That's the lottery where you hear the lottery like, benefits older Pennsylvanians. Yeah. And the funds go to fund that PACE program. That's something that we have unique in Pennsylvania, even though we're not contracted with that system. We actually reached out to them to see about if we could contract. Unfortunately, they didn't know what to do with us. They were like, we really can't accept the pharmacy into our PACE network if you're not taking Medicare. So, but keep doing a good job because we love what you're doing. So, at least a pat on the back there. Yeah. There are a number of things that we could do. But we have those conversations a lot. We do offer a medication cost review service for patients, $10, and we just help you find out the way that you can access the most affordable price given your situation. And there's a lot of different resources at our disposal, even if that resource means not getting it filled through us. And I think that's one thing that also sets us apart. What other business or even healthcare entity that is going to, again, we're just trying to restore trust and looking out for your best interest, not necessarily what's financially in our best interest. And that's why, we just try any service or any prescription we fill, the markup is always the same. That way, we're not financially incentivized to steer you in one way or another. And, really, we know that looking out for your best interest is going to be good for you and it's going to be good for us.
Well, you would think that state and for you as well, and the independent pharmacist, that the PACE program would be right up your alley because I know there are income eligibility requirements with PACE. And so if you have somebody who's just over the line, as often happens, maybe you're making $100 too much. Yeah. And so they won't put you on the program. You would think that they would expand it to the independents.
Yeah, I mean, independents can participate. So there are independents that are in it. Yeah, our issue was that since we are not, I guess one of their requirements is that a pharmacy provider has to be contracted with Medicare, and the claim has to get billed to Medicare first. There are not a lot of people that PACE is their only form of like prescription benefit. And so, that's why for us to join their network, we don't have the ability to submit claims to Medicare. And unfortunately, we do that for two reasons. One, again, insurances just aren't compensating the pharmacies appropriately. So all of your brand name medications, all your zero copay medications, the pharmacies don't even get paid from the third parties what it did to cost them. So every single prescription they're filling, they're going out of business. That's what's happened to Rite Aid. That's likely what's going to happen to Walgreens next year also. And then at the same time, to make up for that, the insurances allow pharmacies to price gouge people on other prescriptions to make up for those losses. And just personally, I don't think that's right. It shouldn't. The contract shouldn't mean having to agree to lose money here and make up for it by profiting on price gouging people elsewhere. So if the insurances and actually Ohio Medicaid system does cost plus reimbursement. So they reimburse pharmacies whatever the average cost of all the pharmacies participating in Ohio Medicaid does, plus an appropriate dispensing fee on each medication. If Pennsylvania or even if Medicare had a reimbursement methodology like that, I would participate in a heartbeat, knowing that we could reach more patients. But unfortunately, we don't have that in Pennsylvania, which is why we've seen close to 3,000 pharmacy closures and counting in the last year and a half in PA.
And you would like to participate in it, but if you're not sure you're going to get the reimbursements for
it's a pharmacy
your
death
service.
sentence.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned a couple of things I wanted to circle back on. One of them was that you've been taking a prescription for years, as many of us have, and you just keep on getting the next refill and the next refill, and you don't question whether or not you still need that refill. Been on, drugs for several years, and then all of a sudden you're thinking, wow, that's never affected me like that before.
Yeah.
So who makes that decision? Because as long as you're getting the next refill, you get 5 refills on this, you're not going to ask that question. How much longer do I have to stay on this?
Yeah, that's a great question. And unfortunately, it's not one that gets asked enough in healthcare, in my opinion. I don't think there is currently a healthcare practitioner or setting that owns that decision. Normally, when those conversations come up, it's usually in reaction to a side effect that potentially caused a hospitalization. We see this happen with blood thinner medications. Blood thinners are very popular to treat patients for a variety of reasons, whether to reduce their risk of a clot or a stroke, or they have a heart condition commonly known as AFib, where maybe the heart just isn't beating like it is, and that puts you at an increased risk for clots. But again, those medications, the side effects of those are very serious, and it is one of I think it's the number 2 cause of hospitalizations due to drug side effects is for blood thinners. I think the number 1 is diabetes medications, when people have their blood sugar go too low and they get low blood sugar and they end up having to go to the hospital. And as we get older, those risk of those side effects increase. So it almost becomes almost pick your, what's the greater risk? You not being treated for the condition, or you suffering a side effect of the medication? And I think it just has to, and this is something that we try to do more, and I'm sure in traditional healthcare settings, you see how stressed and pinched for time, the pharmacy staff is in other places, the physicians in other places. But I think if we all just took a moment to allow ourselves to have a conversation with our trusted health professionals, and the health professionals to engage in the conversation with the patient, every patient, I think, what they want to get out of their therapy may be a little different. Maybe it is to live longer. Maybe it is to live with less side effects and not live as long, but have better quality of life. So I think it's a very individual conversation, but I think we need to do a better job of, and I'm saying we as in like the healthcare provider community, into having these conversations with patients and helping to meet ideally what it is they want to accomplish.
Brandon Antinopoulos from Forward RX. He is the owner and the pharmacist at Forward RX in New Brighton. He comes in once a month to talk with us about the pharmaceutical industry, pharmacist, independent pharmacist, and Forward RX in New Brighton. 843-1888 and 774-1888. If something you've heard so far has spurred a question, make sure you get it in and call us now. If you're not able to get through to Brandon today, how else can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, sure. So we're open from 9 to 6 Monday through Friday and 9 to 1 on Saturdays. Our telephone number is 724-246-6257. You can also stop in the pharmacy. We're at 809 3rd Avenue in New Brighton, right on the main street of New Brighton, actually right next to the Rite Aid that just closed up. Also, anyone can go on our website, fwdrx.com, to learn more and also see our prices. So we have a price checker there. You can type in your medication and anyone can go on there and see what the price of the medication is. And if there's something you're looking for that's not on there, again, just give us a call and we can give you an immediate price quote over the phone.
And if you walk into the store in New Brighton, but you see guns and rifles, you just won over. You got
yeah, that's it. That's it. We got the tattoo shop. We got we got Tri-State Sporting Arms with the gun store. Then you got us. I was the Derek Rossiter, the owner of the gun shop, and we joke because actually that store is where my family's old pharmacy used to be. Yeah. And Derek and we got a good relationship. It's a nice group of businesses on there. But we joke because when they moved the liquor store from the main street of New Brighton into the Fisher's Beverage Plaza. Yeah, I joke with Derek. I was like, "Oh man, we could have had like tattoos, guns, drugs, and alcohol. Like that would have been like that would have been a great block to have."
Yeah, that's great. 843-1888 or 774-1888 with Brandon Antinopoulos. People have been, I know of, and not me personally, but I know of 3-4 people who have stopped taking their statins for cholesterol because of the side effects. They can't move their legs. Their legs go numb on them. In the middle of the night, they're having problems like that. What can be done?
Yeah, sure. So the good thing now is that there are a number of statin choices available that are affordable. About 10 years ago, or even I was at the family's pharmacy, you either had Simvastatin, the generic of Zocor, or you had Lipitor or Crestor, and they were brand name only. They were very expensive. And Simvastatin was one of the original statins, but it did carry with it a high increased risk of having those muscle pains. And then also side effects, drug interactions with other drugs, just the way it was metabolized. The good news is now Lipitor is available as a generic. Even Crestor is available as a generic. They're all relatively inexpensive. And there's another one that we don't really talk about as much because it wasn't marketed as much. It's called Livalo, is the brand name medication. And the generic of that is Pitavastatin. So now there is a generic available of it. It's the one that the evidence shows has the least risk of that muscle pain side effect of all the statins. So generally, and our price on that, we have numerous patients that come to us because even when it's covered by a Medicare plan, a month's supply of the generic, I've heard people have Medicare copays between $120 to $140 a month. Our regular price is, I think, down into like the high 20s or the low 30s. I just filled a 3-month supply of it for someone, and it was $68 compared to $120 to $140 for a 1-month supply. So that's an option. And again, that's something that another pharmacy, they're really not going to know about that because they usually only fill the medications that are covered. And since a lot of insurance companies don't cover that one, a lot of other pharmacies don't know that there's this pitavastatin available or to make the recommendation. Another thing that could be done, it is believed that myalgia or that muscle pain is caused by depletion of an enzyme in our system called coenzyme Q10 or CoQ10. And there are over-the-counter supplements that are available that patients can take to replenish that. That does show some promising evidence. It's not definitively clear, but I think the studies depended on the quality or the source of that CoQ10 supplement. But there is some evidence that patients are on statins, if they're taking CoQ10 supplements, that'll reduce the risk of that muscle pain that is caused because it's believed to be caused by the depletion of CoQ10.
Interesting. And should a person take themselves off of the statin, or should they consult their physician? How should, is it, because with most medications, going off it cold turkey is something that you don't want to do.
Right. So I would never recommend stopping something definitively without either talking to your pharmacist or the prescriber first. At least that way they can go over with you what are the risks and benefits of stopping. Now, when it comes to a statin medication, if someone has side effects and they believe that's the case, there are times where appropriate, I'll tell people stop taking it for 5 to 7 days. If you notice the muscle pain goes away, then, we can, with good faith judgment, say that that's probably what was causing it. And then it becomes, again, the conversation of why are we taking the statin? Okay, well, it's to reduce our risk of stroke, heart attack, cardiovascular events. Are there other things that we could do to reduce our risk? Like, what's our lifestyle? What's our diet like? That's a lot of chronic conditions. Not saying we can all treat them and cure them with lifestyle, but there is growing evidence that shows that with cardiovascular health, diabetes, even cancer now, lifestyle is we can treat and cure many diseases purely with lifestyle before you even have to start a medication. So again, that's the kind of the conversation that we have. Probably not something that another pharmacist at another pharmacy is going to have the time to go over with you. And if they do, that's a great pharmacy. Like, don't ever leave that pharmacy and support that pharmacy. But that's generally what we do at Forward RX, is really get down to, understanding, okay, yes, let's stop the side effect, but then let's really ask ourselves, what's the benefit of being on this? Does it outweigh the risk for the individual? And what are some alternatives that we can explore that's going to accomplish the same thing, even if it has nothing to do with medications?
Why does it always seem to come back to diet and exercise? Why is that? Why? And a lot of the people that are on these pills today tell the doctor, isn't there just a pill I could take for that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. That's a great question. I think psychologically, our brains, not that it's a good thing, but our brains like quick dopamine hits. And the things that we consume, processed food, unhealthy foods, when you compare that to more like plant-based or quality source nutritious foods, plus even a lot of times those foods can be a little bit more expensive than the processed, cheaper alternatives. Something in that processed food or that stuff that's not healthy for us, I think just hits a dopamine center, and it's very hard to stop doing that and go to healthier lifestyles. I mean, when you even look at sugar, like sugar lights up the brain just like street drugs do. So it's no wonder that it's very hard to tell someone who may have diabetes and needs to control their sugar, hey, we need to reduce your sugar intake or stop doing things, in this case, eating foods that aren't best for you. And it's still challenging to do. So it's those things, they give us quick dopamine hits, and even though we know it's probably the best thing, it's still very hard. And so if you have some people in your corner that's going to help you promote a healthy lifestyle and explore that first rather than just going to a medication. I think a lot of times it's easier just to go to medication. But me personally, I think it all starts with healthy lifestyle, and we need to pursue that first.
Well, I've lived in Beaver County all my life, Brandon. Probably been on every main street in Beaver County at one time or another. Never saw a dealer on the street hawking M&Ms.
No. No.
So anyway, Forward RX, Brandon Antinopoulos in New Brighton. Once again, the phone number is
724-246-6257.
All right. Check him out. Give him a call. Stop in and just ask for, see what the difference is in independent pharmacies. As far as generics are concerned, you can have insurance, right? You don't take insurance.
Insurance doesn't matter. You can have insurance. You cannot have it. Everyone pays the same price, and it's, and you always know up front what you're going to pay.
Thank you, Brandon. Good to see you again.
Yep, you too.
See you next month on Beaver County Radio.
Be more wild. Are you tired of sitting around at home this summer? Bring your family and come down to the African Safari Wildlife Park located in Port Clinton, Ohio. We have giraffe, zebra, bison, and much more. So skip the lines at the amusement park and come experience the safari for yourself. Are you tired of the normal zoo experience? Looking for an exciting way to see animals up close? Take Route 2 to the Route 53 North exit and follow the signs. Just 17 miles west of Cedar Point via Route 6. Open every day, rain or shine.
Nowadays, it seems like everyone is looking for words of wisdom that will really move them. Well, while I've always considered myself somewhat of a great orator, I realize this has to be about more than just my own eloquence. This is Andy Dengel from Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Listen up. If you want to get moved, start with us. Whether it's moving Junior back to college or moving around in a new vehicle, make the move to the place where the interest has always been in you. Freedom United Federal Credit Union. If you've been moved to tears at the sight of tiresome paperwork and high interest rates at other places, move it on over today and apply for a loan suited for what you need at Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Loan based on credit approval. Stop in for special details, rates, and information. Member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
We belong to you.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.